I've just picked up the Ego 56 volt multi-tool kit, and in this video I'm going to be taking a closer look at the 40 centimeter line trimmer attachment. So let's take a look at what comes in the box. So in here we've got our power head attachment, the line trimmer attachment, the hedge trimmer attachment, and the pole saw attachment. We've also got a 5 amp hour battery, a charger. We've also got some string for the line trimmer, an instruction booklet, and a shoulder strap. All right, so taking a look at the power head. So at the very far end, we've got the slot where the battery goes in and the brushless motor that powers the power head. Then moving along, we've got the first hand grip, which has got the trigger mechanism, and straight away, I'm not a massive fan of that. The safety release is this little plastic switch that you've got to push back. And normally with a line trimmer, I'd use a single finger on the trigger, but this is kind of leading you towards needing to use two to be able to engage that, or to push it and then pull the trigger. And I think every time you release the trigger, it's going to be slightly annoying. Maybe just something to get used to, but I definitely prefer the trigger style where the safety release is on top of the handle. So when you grip it, it's automatically engaged. On the top, there's a digital speed controller as well. So that's just two limit settings. So a low and a high power. Then moving down the unit, we've got a carbon fiber shaft with a hook there for the shoulder strap and the spot for the handle to go. Then moving down to the very end of the power head is an aluminium fitting with a button and a mechanism to tighten it, and that's where all of the attachments fit into. In the box, there was also the secondary handle, which is a toolless install. It's also got this secondary handle, which I guess gives you a bit more flexibility if you're edging or using it in certain positions. It's a bit of adjustability there. You can set it to where you want it. Does feel like it's got a bit of movement though, even though it's been tightened all the way up. So with the power head, we've also got this battery charger, which is a massive unit. It's got a few indicators on the front there for the state of charge, which is nice. And then the 5 amp hour 56 volt battery, which is fairly weighty. The end of the battery has got a power button, which gives the battery status in 20% increments. So out of the box, it's come at 40%. And then the battery just clicks into the power head like that nicely. With the battery in, we can use the speed button to cycle through those two power level settings. And now let's connect up the 40 centimeter line trimmer attachment. So this is the 40 centimeter line trimmer attachment for the power head. We've got a carbon fiber shaft. We've got the power load button there, which I'll talk a little bit more about. And then we've got the bump feed line trimmer head. The line trimmer attachment also comes with this plastic guard, which we can attach with the provided Allen key. Now that's all attached, and I should point out the line trimmer head does come pre-loaded with line. Something to note with this is the motor is obviously in the power head itself, and there's a shaft that runs through the center and powers this, whereas the dedicated Ego line trimmers have the motor down on the head itself. These also do spin in anti-clockwise, which I'm pretty used to, but I believe the dedicated Ego line trimmers spin clockwise. Now to connect this up, it's just a matter of taking off the cap and sliding this in. There's two little clips there, and pushing it in to the red line and then tightening it up. And that is the line trimmer assembled. So straight away, I'm noticing the weight in that, especially at the power head end. And for comparison, I've just got my old 18 volt Ryobi line trimmer. And it honestly feels like it's probably about half the weight. So I mentioned the power load button. I'll show you that in a second. And this is a bump feed head as well. A nice feature in it is the end of this head spins. So when you're bumping it, that can stop and it's not going to wear down the head as quickly. Now, some of the dedicated Ego line trimmers have a feature that's called Line IQ, which automatically feeds the line out and doesn't rely on that bump feed, and this does not have that. Now, reading quite a few reviews, the Line IQ was not a feature that I was actually after. It doesn't sound like it's been perfected yet. It sounds like the line can wear in a bit and then it will release sort of unpredictably, whereas with the bump feed, you get a lot more control over your line length. So the head on this can be released if you let the line come all the way in or it gets tangled or whatever. There's 2 buttons on either side. And I'm just going to pull this line out to show you the load mechanism. So now with the head completely empty of line, we can just feed the new line through here. Pull it through until it's the same length on both sides, like that. So with that the same length on both sides, we can now just push the power load button. And that'll load that line into the head automatically. Now you can also wind it in manually if you wanted to. I'm not sure why you would, unless for whatever reason that failed. And now it's ready to go. So I think it's time we go and put it to use. So this is on speed setting 1. And then speed setting 2. That's the limit of it apparently. So to finish off testing, I just want to compare the Ego line trimmer to a couple of different line trimmers. So starting on the left, we've got the very entry-level Ryobi 18-volt line trimmer, moving up to the 18-volt brushless Ryobi line trimmer, then obviously the Ego, and then up to a commercial 2-stroke Husqvarna. Just going to start with this sort of lighter stuff and then push into that heavier stuff there and see how it goes. Well, I've had a couple of months now to put the line trimmer through its paces, and I'm ready to give my verdict. And straight off the bat, I want to say this is one of the best, if not best, line trimmers I've ever used. It's got plenty of power to cut long, thick grass, even though that's probably not what you're normally going to put it through. And it genuinely has the power of a commercial two-stroke machine without the fumes, noise, and the hassle. I really like the power load feature. One of my least favorite things about line trimming is reloading the head, and with that power load feature, it just makes it so easy and it really takes the hassle out of it. Battery wise, I can't give a continuous run time because that's not how I've been testing it. I've mostly just been using it like I normally would around the suburban block, and it has been more than sufficient with the 5 amp battery that came in the kit. That said though, if you need more juice, it's super quick and easy to change the battery out, and the battery also charges really quickly. I found it was about 35 minutes to fully charge the 5 amp battery. Speaking of charging, the charger is actually very noisy, just something to be mindful of. But it is very fast. When I was unboxing this, I mentioned the trigger, and I was a little bit worried that I wasn't gonna like it, but as soon as I started using it, it kind of felt natural and I didn't even really notice it after that point. Weight-wise, the power head with the line trimmer is definitely on the heavier side, comes in nearly double an 18-volt line trimmer, and it's heavier than its petrol equivalents, but it's not something that I particularly noticed while using it. In terms of negatives, the only one that I can really pick at is the foam handle that's been used. It's already showing signs of wear and tear, and I just don't think it's going to stand the test of time. And I'm not sure why a harder plastic or harder foam wasn't used for that. Overall though, I'm really happy with this line trimmer. It's really powerful, it's quiet, and it's easy to use.